can't see my face, that's not important. What I want to talk about is in my 7-part series that I want to share with you. I want to share with you the number one of the 7 steps to being successful in sales. Okay? And the first thing that you must do in sales is you want to build rapport. Okay? So let's talk about that. Build rapport how? Talk about what? Well, you can build rapport with and talking about anything. So you can talk about anything from the topic at hand, something that you encounter them involved in, something maybe you did a little background on them before you go out to see them, or they come to see you, some special interest that they're in. A lot of times when a company is looking to hire a talent, what they'll look at, most importantly, is they'll look at that person's some of the things that they volunteered in, and it can be a great icebreaker because talent is going to be nervous coming in, but if somebody asks them something that they are well aware of or passionate about, it's not hard for them to talk about those types of things. So the most important thing to remember when building a rapport is you really, it's a fine line. You don't want to ask anything too personal, but what you want to do is you want to make sure that the questions that you ask them are open-ended to get them to talk about something that they are excited about, something that they like, and take interest and find a point of interest in what they're saying. It may not be anything. You may be talking to a female about flowers. You may have, as a man, if you're a man, that may have no interest bearing to you. But it's something about a flower that you can find that you like. Maybe you like the different colors of flowers. Maybe you like the way certain flowers smell to you. And you need to throw those things in there when you're talking to them or when they're talking to you, because that lets them know that not only are you listening to them, that they're not just spinning their wheels. Because take note, a lot of times people know that you're trying to gain rapport with them, so they've got their ears open while they're talking to you because they really want to see if you have active listening skills. And if you can fake like you're interested in something, but if you can't find something to pique your interest, a lot of times people can pick up on that. So you want to be very, very careful that you are very, very engaged into what they're saying. And when it comes turn and time for you to repeat, to say something, you want to basically, it helps to pull up points that they said to let them know, yeah, I was listening to you. And rapport can be something that's important as far as the aspect of using it in your arsenal to help you get the sale or close business. I was talking to a guy yesterday, and he called me out because he had a particular issue that I specialize in addressing. Well, there's no secret, I'm not the only one that's capable of addressing it. And people tend to do business with who they like. So when I got out to this guy's house, I asked probing questions, how long have you had this issue? What are you looking for? What can I do to help you? And I wasn't really getting anywhere. And it was me doing this was my intentions of doing those probing questions was to find out what the interest level was. Was he just shopping around? Was he really looking to address the issue? Was he looking to address the problem? Whatever the case may be. So I discovered with the probing questions that he wanted to take care of the issue, but he was non-committal with a particular company. in those particular instances, I was able to identify that using and trying to ask probing questions. And I realized that there was a possibility that I wasn't going to close business that day. But I don't give up. So a lot of times you have to dig deeper from probing, because probing questions aren't rapport building strategies. So I went along and I did what I needed to do, and we just got into some general conversation because I was looking around his house. And I looked around his house and I noticed that he graduated from a college in particular. And I made mention of that college because the college that he graduated from, one of the guys that played football at that particular college had did a commencement speech at a graduation that I went to. And we used that as talking points. And the cool thing about that was it was something that I knew he could gravitate to and identify with. So that was the breaking point for me to get him to start spilling the beans as far as something that he's interested in. And all I saw while he was talking was him putting his guard down. And that's what you want them to do. Put their guard down. Now granted, sometimes when people put their guard down, you reveal that they never had any intention of buying anyway. You're not going to sell those people. But anybody who has any inkling and any intentions of buying, you just be nice to them and you build rapport with them. If you don't know what to talk about as far as rapport, talk about things that persist of or consist of their children. Talk about their children and grandchildren. It really depends on their age. People love their children. People love their grandchildren. If they don't have children, most of the time if you run across people who don't have children, they've got some niece or some nephew or some cousin who they took and gravitated to as if it was their own child. Because it's something innate in all of us to want to lead other people or teach other people or to be an influence to other people. And so typically we find that if we don't have any children, that we tend to gravitate to someone who is of next of kin. It's just something that's normal. You talk about occupation, what they do for a living, what they did for a living, depending on how old or young that person is. You could talk about all of those wonderful things or get them to open up about all of those things about them. When you get them to start opening up about them, and they've told you something that's important to them, it's a connect that happens with you and that particular potential client. They feel like this person knows about me, or they come away from the situation and say, this person is a good listener. I feel like I can talk to this person about anything. And when you allow somebody to talk about something that's important to them, they're going to generally say, I feel like I can talk to this person about anything. And those are the types of people they like to deal with. So when you open your mouth and you give it your expertise about your particular field and what you have to offer, then they will listen to you and see you as a credible person. Another thing that you can use is recreation. What do they like to do for fun? Is it hunting? Is it playing a particular sport? Is it the arts? Whatever it is, find out what it is and ask pertinent questions to get them to dig a little bit into it. Be very, very careful to make sure that your questions are open-ended, because if your questions are closed-ended, then you come off looking, what's the word I'm looking for? You start to invade their space. And they feel now you were trying to build rapport, but because you asked a bunch of closed-ended questions, now they feel like, oh, this person is really, really nosy. Your rapport building questions should be open-ended. Like, for example, here's what you don't want to do. You don't want to say, how many children do you have? And they say, 3. Okay. What are the names? Tim, John, and Jane. Who's the oldest? doesn't that sound investigative? That sounds really, really suspect. You don't want to do that. But a good question is, watch this. Wow, those are those are some beautiful children. Are they your kids? Yeah. Wow. How old are they? Yeah. They're all grown up now, aren't they? Yeah, they're all grown up. And then here's a great icebreaker. Wow. So what did they turn out to be? Oh, well, John turned out to be a such and such. Jane turned out to be a so and so. And of course this one right here, he didn't really get it together. And you participate and you say, oh, well, I totally understand. Identify with them and mirror it. Mirror the customer. Say, I have a cousin who's like that. I have a brother who's like that. And every time we try to get them thinking about the positive things in life and doing what they're supposed to do, they just can't identify. And they just, it's an unfortunate situation. But, it's not how you start the race. It's how you finish the race. Yeah, you get them to talk a little bit. Spend time with that. Then you have to know, based on the time frame that you have, because you need to know how much time you're going to be spending there with the client, you need to be saying to yourself, how long does it take for me to be there and what I need to do? Maybe you set a 2-hour window to be dealing with this particular customer, but it only takes you 45 minutes to do what you need to do. The reason that you allot yourself a certain amount of time to deal with that particular customer is because they may have questions and things may turn out in a way which you were not anticipating. So you want to give them that time, but you want to be a master of your time. So when you see things getting off track, there's a way you got to guide it back and say, you know what, I know that we could talk about it, and I excuse me for cutting you off. I just wanted to make sure that I was taking care of the issue and concern for you. And if they're not getting it and they're just a talking person, you have to just remind them, say, you know what, I really love to listen in normal situations, but my schedule is a little tight today, and I like to see if I can try to help you address and go over and meet the concerns that you have. So you need something. Try to remember this acronym, CORE. That's children, occupation, recreation, and emotional transition. These are the things that you need to talk about if you don't know what to talk about to build rapport. But please understand that you don't have to use just those things to build rapport. That's just a guide to help you in case you need that. Okay? So if you got any other questions or any other concerns about what I just went over and covered with you, I tried to go into depth just a little bit about it. Then go ahead and get in contact with me, and I'll be able to do my best to answer any questions that you have. But again, this is step 1 on a 7-step journey to help you understand how to master and close the sale. All right? This has been Lee. It's been great. I'll see you on the next video.